right, welcome folks. This is Magic the Grappling, a podcast with Ford Fisher. Today it is going to be brought to you by OneLionCBD.com and ManaTraders.com. My ManaTraders promo code is moon_6R4 and you get 15% off for your first 3 months. Today's podcast guest is one of my good friends from several years ago, and he's an independent wrestler and very successful on his own right, to tell you the truth. His name is YUTA, and he is with me today. I'm going to get over to the right screen, and there he is. All right. How we doing there, YUTA?
Good, Ford. Good to talk to you, man. How you doing?
Oh, doing well. I've been waiting a while to do something like this. These are two of my favorite topics, and you have been exploding in the pro wrestling world right now. You just showed up in Ring of Honor. You've been in all kinds of different promotions in Germany, England, I believe, right? And where else have you traveled? You've been to Canada?
Yeah, I've been to Canada. Was gonna do some stuff in Mexico, but that fell through because of the coronavirus. And then went to Japan for Michinoku Pro.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, and you got Great Sasuke did something to you, did a pile driver to you, right?
Yeah, we were wrestling on like one of their kind of smaller town shows, and he gave me a pile driver. Like they have like tatami mats that people were sitting on, so he like pulled up the tatami mat and gave me a pile driver on the stage. It was great. But,
that's really cool, man. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So what I was going to do, normally what I do with starting off the show, I know we got a little bit into wrestling, but I like to start off with the one of the two topics that the guest doesn't really know as much about. So what we're going to dive into a little bit is Magic the Gathering. It's a card game. I know you just know a little itty bitty bit about it. If you could tell me what you know and what it means to you, if anything.
I mean, honestly, I really only know it from the periphery. I would, as you mentioned, friends from years past. So when I was living in Myrtle Beach, wrestling for C4W, after the shows, we would always kind of go over to AC, the promoter / my trainer's house, and we would be able to. Everyone would kind of play, and I had no idea what was going on, but I was hanging out with my friends. It was a great time. But I just remember that you guys would always be playing on one side. I'd be sitting next to you watching, but never picked it up, never figured out how to play myself.
Hey, and that, that's completely respectable, and don't ever, you will lose a lot of money doing it. But so that you mentioned AC, and that's a friend of ours named AC Collins that was your initial trainer in pro wrestling, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes, he was.
And that was in Myrtle Beach. It was a small company called C4W Explosive Wrestling, and you wrestled under a name called Alex Kai, and you were kind of a Hawaiian kind of babyface, more reminded me of Richie Steamboat, maybe what is it, Tonga Kid, that kind of character. Is that about right, you think?
Yeah, I think that's a fair statement. I'm definitely a big Ricky Steamboat fan. So a lot of that early stuff was kind of paralleling him. Like, so he was billed from Hawaii. I was actually born in Hawaii, but the only reason was because my dad was stationed there in the Navy. So like he has a Japanese mother and an American father that met through the military. So do I. So a lot of that was kind of like where I drew that inspiration from, and I think it reflected in my style then.
Okay, yeah, I can see that, and definitely in your entrance, and you had one of our friends, Rocco, was your manager for a little while. He was a great guy. It still is. Rocco. I'm sorry. And I can't. What did we call him? We called him Dr. Lorian, right? Yeah,
that's what he was. And then he became Coach Rocco later. But.
Coach Rocco, that's right.
Yeah, Coach Rocco was Patrick's manager.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he must have seen the Rocky movie one time, and he said, "Oh, I'm going to be like him."
Right.
Love Rocco.
Actually, I think Patrick saw the Rocky movies and thought, this guy's going to be like, this guy's going to be my Mickey.
Oh, and that's our buddy Patrick Shelley. He's a good guy, too. But so once you turned 18, really is pretty much when you went up to college and you went up to Pennsylvania and you ended up training under Mike Quackenbush for a little while. And And then you moved on. You got a lot of different spots in like Chicago. I think you were working in what is that, AIW? I think for a couple shows, right? Or AAW.
Uh, yeah, so I did one AAW, which is in Chicago. I did a lot in Cleveland, which is AIW. But I
Okay.
did, yeah, I traveled around a lot.
I mix those up sometimes, and I know AIW is in Cleveland. Okay, that's right.
Mm.
Those are two great promotions that were using Pentagon Junior and a lot of big names for a while there. So yeah, I think you were getting a lot of good experience working there. And in Pennsylvania, like I said, under Mike Quackenbush, and you even went to Germany and faced the big bad boogeyman Walter, didn't you?
I did, yeah. And a lot of that stuff, I also want to say, like, I did train with Mike for a year. I also was really lucky to train with Drew Gulak when I first moved up here, and he's really been a great mentor to me. But yeah, they would take me around. Drew especially would take me around. Like, he took me to Chicago for the first time. Hot Sauce Tracy Williams took me to Cleveland for the first time, and I was really lucky to do all that. But then all those connections kind of culminated with me going to Germany for 6 weeks. That's where I got to wrestle Walter with that. He was the UK champion at the time. Like, he had I remember he did his whole entrance, and like he like posed with the belt in the center of the ring, and like I'm squatting in the corner. He just kind of looked at me and it wasn't a title match, but he just kind of looked at me and like showed me the belt a little bit.
He's like, you
Like,
wish you
oh,
could even sniff this thing.
I got him now too. Exactly. He's like, you know who I am, right? And it's just his home promotion where he started. Like, he's just like, look, man. He like shows me the belt. Here we go.
Okay, so then after you came back from WXW, I know it was only there. You were only there for a week or so, right?
No, I was 6 weeks.
Oh, 6 weeks. Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, you did a
Yeah.
tour and you were in a couple of tournaments, and then it culminated with Walter. Then, right?
Yeah. Walter, I think, was the last show or second to last show.
Oh my gosh! Well, I mean, I actually got to see that match through nefarious means, and I tell you what, those chops. I don't know how you're still sitting here like 2 years later talking to me right now. I mean, that was incredible.
You know what I actually thought though when he shot me? This is gonna make you laugh,
What's that?
and a lot of people aren't gonna get this. But it reminded me of Stephen Hayes chopping me when I turned 18, and they gave me like my graduation match. Because at C4W we had the pre-show, the exhibition matches for like when I was like underage, and then once I turned 18, I did have like a little bit before I went to school, and I like moved up to the main roster where I was like licensed and all that in South Carolina, and like my last match, Stephen Hayes gave me like two real good chops, and like Walter he only gave me two also in that match, but like the second one I was like, oh. And then I was thinking like, oh man, this kind of reminds me of Stephen Hayes, and then we went back into whatever we were doing.
I'll tell you what, man, Stephen Hayes, he would take that as the utmost compliment, I believe, if he ever hears this. That guy is a huge man. I mean, just a behemoth of an individual. And it's like if anybody can imagine what Eddie Kingston looked like in that pay-per-view recently where he had the yellow and black gear on, it's like him, but two of him in one person. Because Eddie Kingston's a big man, but this Stephen Hayes is gigantic and very imposing. And Paul, I mean, it just, oh my gosh, it's unbelievable, man. So, so after you faced Walter, you moved back to America again, and you where did you start working again? You did MLW after that?
So that was I had already been doing MLW, but that was sort of towards the end of. So I came back and I did do a couple more MLW shows. I did most of them before Germany, but like I did have a few after. Like I wrestled Low-Key, which was really cool. I wrestled Low-Key in New York City. Like,
oh my god!
Crazy. He knocked me out in like 2 minutes, and I lost, but it was still super fun.
That I mean, I'm sitting here
like,
flabbergasted.
Yeah, I got to wrestle Low. Yeah, it was nuts. It was awesome. Like I obviously go to the ring first, and like people liked me, people were cheering. They're like, "Oh yeah, Yuta's here," and then like Low-Key's music hits. I don't know if it was announced. They're like, "Oh boy," and then here comes Low-Key in his hometown. Absolutely nuts. But yeah, that was for MLW. That was super fun.
Okay, yeah, well, yeah, he and Samoa Joe kind of have that presence about them. You know, if their music just
Mhm.
starts, you're like, oh, damn, it's on.
Exactly. Mhm.
So yeah, so he knocked you out in 2 minutes. I mean, yeah, it's respectable. At least you lasted 2 minutes. I tell you the truth, man. I'm not even sure if I would last through his entrance. I'd be pissing myself. Um, so you did some MLW and so that was what summer of 2018 when you finished up with MLW, give or take.
Yeah, summer 2018. I think the low key match was actually my last one.
Okay, all
Um,
right.
and then and then doing a bunch of like Beyond Wrestling, which I've done throughout the years. But that was like we were doing this series called Uncharted Territory, which was their attempt at like a not attempt, they succeeded, but it was like a weekly show where it was like 2 hours. At first it was every Wednesday night, and then they moved it to Thursday when AEW and NXT started airing live on Wednesdays. So yeah, we did Uncharted Territory, and that's where I got to do a lot of my favorite work at that time.
Okay, yeah, and that's where you got to face Jonathan Gresham for the first time, right?
Yeah, I got to face him for the first time. That wasn't part of the Uncharted Territory, but yeah, it's my first like Beyond Wrestling
Oh,
stuff.
that was in Beyond, but
Jonathan
it
Gresham.
wasn't part of the weekly show.
Right.
I know kind of a hot topic these days is intergender wrestling, and some people are completely against it. Some people are totally for it. I'm a little bit in the middle. It needs to be an appropriate woman, and that can take a couple of shots from a man. I feel like, and somebody like Tessa Blanchard. Have you wrestled a lot of women or any women? And I know Beyond is known for that. So
Yeah, I mean, I've wrestled uh, plenty of women, like, and to me, it's always just been like we're just two competitors. We're fighting. Like, obviously, you take into account like size and stuff, but you do that for every match. Like me wrestling Walter, like we had to take into account my size. So like me wrestling Solo Darling, we take into account her size. It doesn't to me, it's not an obstacle like man versus woman. It's just like you uh, every wrestling match you have to take these things into account. So you do that in that kind of match. But like speaking of Tessa, like I wrestled. I had a 4-way one time at Beyond. It was myself, MJF, Mia Yim, and Tessa Blanchard, and we like it was a great match. So you can have all these like intergender matches, and to me, it's not a big deal. You just have to you have to plan for size and stuff, but that's really the only drawback for me. And but you do that in every wrestling match. So
well, that's true. It's
yeah.
just I hope that it doesn't get to be too repetitive with man versus woman. Where the woman is always fighting from underneath, and that makes room for the
Mm-hmm.
woman to never really be the heel. I guess in traditional regards. But I tell
in
you,
so in
oh, I'm
in
sorry.
that in that sense, I would just tell you seek out a match that I had at Beyond in this run that we're talking about. Even it was against Kimberly, and she's
Oh.
the heel. I'm the baby face. So I would seek that one out.
Okay, I think I will take that. It's a great recommendation. She had a short stint with WWE and NXT, and I was remiss to see that she left, but she's a
Mm-hmm.
fantastic wrestler with a gas tank that just goes on forever and ever. It seems like.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Absolutely.
and so that 4-way you mentioned with MJF and Mia Yim and you said Tessa was the fourth one, right?
Yeah.
Good golly! I mean, how did you feel sitting in that, just staring at those three people who say, "Why am I here?" I mean, I know you deserve to be there, but I know that you were probably thinking that, yourself.
Uh, yeah, I mean a little bit. So MJF and I had like a series of matches, so we'd already wrestled a bunch at this point.
Oh, you had.
So MJF and I were all, yeah, yeah. So we were like we made our Beyond or my Beyond debut was against MJF, and we had like a trilogy already that we had done. Wrestled in MLW, wrestled at Create a Pro, and like a triple threat. So like we'd wrestled enough that we were buddies. Um, so like was that wasn't really a too big of a thing, but like yeah, it's really cool to like it's it wasn't so much at the time like oh man why am I here? It's more of like now looking at where everyone's kind of like where everyone's at. It's really cool. Like Tessa, like former Impact champion, Mia Yim is part of Retribution, MJF like the top heel in pro wrestling. Like it's really cool to see.
I know, and then you just debuted
Wrestling
in Ring
that.
of Honor, and I mean, all four of those people are having a burgeoning career right now. Um, So I'm very excited for all four of y'all, especially you though. So that's why we're talking to you today. And speaking of MJF and the kind of and the feud y'all have had throughout different companies, I have to mention one of my favorites that I saw on Amazon Prime a couple years ago was Dojo Pro.
Mm-hmm.
And you were a big part of that with several other big names, James Storm and MJF, and gosh, it's kind of slipping me right now as a couple of the names, but I mean they were just fantastic, and
Jeff
Aaron
Cobb,
Solo.
Isaiah Swerve Scott.
Oh, that's right, Swerve Scott. That's right. He was he was in there before he was Isaiah Swerve Scott, of course.
Right.
And and MJF did. I know you held that white belt for a little while, and MJF ended up taking it from you, I believe, right?
Actually, another big name that was in there wound up taking it from me. Joey Janela is actually the one who beat me for it.
That's right. That's right. You held it for about 3 matches, though. I think you were one of the longest reigning of that show.
I know that I was the first one to win it and then not subsequently lose it the next week. I was the first one with a successful defense and actually had 2 of them. But yeah, that was a really fun concept too.
Okay, yeah, I knew it was a big deal, man, when you won it and then you were the first one to keep it. Yeah, you defended it successfully. Yeah, I really enjoyed that, and I hope that whoever was behind that goes for another season after the virus calms down a little bit. That would be great.
Yeah, I think that there were plans at one point and then it got derailed, but I wouldn't be surprised if you saw another Dojo Pro season. I know that they had even talked about some tag teams, which I think would be awesome. I think that there's been enough laughs between seasons that you could do the singles again and it'd be cool, but I'd really like to see tag teams, so I hope that's what they do. So Logan, if you're listening, Logan's the guy who created it.
Oh, right. Oh, that's right. Yeah, Logan. I do remember following him on Twitter. He's a very nice person. So let's see. I don't even know where else to go with this, man. I tell you, you've got so much ahead of you. After we did MLW and Beyond and the virus, and so you had to shut down with the virus, and you didn't wrestle, I know, for several months. What was your first gig in the ring after once you came back?
Yeah, so my first one was a match with Lee Moriarty, who is a name that you're going to be hearing a lot more of. If you haven't already, he's really taking the independents by storm. That was at Beyond Wrestling again. So they were doing throughout the summer these outdoor shows in Atlantic City where they were trying to follow as many of the CDC guidelines as possible. Everyone's getting tested, outdoor, 6 feet apart, masks required, all that. So that's what we were doing in August, I believe. And then the next thing right after that was within a week or two, I got a call from ROH asking if I wanted to be a part of the Pure tournament. So that's where that all kind of kicked off.
Oh my gosh! And I remember those pictures they were taking for Beyond. Y'all were taking promo pictures on the pier near the beach. And I remember you were getting a lot of heat for heat is the operative word for this jacket that you were wearing.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about that, that would be great.
Yeah. So my my ring jacket is a giant trench coat. It's like a giant leather trench coat with actually Drew Gulak. It's got fur, in a collar. That's in the car right now. Otherwise, I'd show it to you. But it's this giant leather trench coat, and we're on the beach in August. So I'm doing my entrance, and I knew before. I was all right, I have to put this coat on to do my entrance because I'm not gonna not wear my stuff. It's pretty part of my gonna wear it. The middle of it was either late July, early August. So it's 95 degrees outside. I'm walking to the ring and I have to put on this huge coat, and everyone was just making fun of me for why is he wearing this giant winter coat? It's too cold to wear, and or it's too hot to wear even in the fall or anything. It's a winter coat, but I'm wearing it to the ring. So
oh my gosh!
Fun of me for that. There's a great picture. There's a great picture of if you don't follow them, Wrestling with Unicorns, you can find them on Twitter and Instagram. They take great clips of independent shows that they travel to. But Martin from Wrestling with Unicorns and Lee are in the corner laughing at me, like, why is this dude wearing a trench coat right now? And then, I mean, I literally had it on for all of 2 minutes to do my entrance. But yeah, I was getting clowned for that.
Oh, you couldn't get out of it fast enough. I know, that's too funny.
Yeah, I did my entrance, like, almost forgot how to do my entrance, hadn't done it in 4 months. Do it, take the coat off. I'm like, it's so hot. And then wrestled. So.
Never had your shoulders sweating before, have you?
Right. I was like, you know, some guys will like to spray themselves down with like spray bottle or something before they go out. I didn't have to do any of that. I was already just soaked.
Oh right, here we go. That is too funny, man. And then so you had Beyond. Wow, so Beyond actually had a few matches, a few big shows. They were all outdoors and they were pretty successful, I think. And the only other one I remember seeing was out in Cleveland or Cincinnati area where they had GCW, some outdoor shows.
Yeah, GCW's done a lot of stuff. They actually were even able to do an event called the Collective, which is usually their WrestleMania weekend like convention.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to postpone it. Of course, it was supposed to be in Tampa, but because they couldn't do it, they wound up just running it by themselves in Indianapolis, and that was actually indoors, but it was like a very large kind of spread out building. So they wound up doing it there. I wasn't a part of that one, but they did that, and then they've done some outdoor Indianapolis shows too. But
okay.
Yeah, I actually got like a letter from the mayor commending them for like, I think they declared one of the days GCW Day when they were there. But yeah, so it's been like few and far between independent wise.
Wow.
But just kind of doing what you can here and there.
Exactly.
Been able to wrestle for, yeah. I think I did the math recently. I'm gonna have less than 20 matches this year for the first time since. You remember when C4W tried to move out of the X and then move back in?
I do.
So that year is the like least amount of matches I had. I had like 10 because the company shut down for 4 months. But this year is going to be the least amount of matches since that year. So.
Oh gosh, I can commiserate a little bit with you because my favorite band I see is named Widespread Panic, and I've seen them probably over 120 times or so in the past 12, 15 years or so. And you know, this year and last year I've only gotten to see them. Actually, I haven't seen them any this year or last year. The last time I saw them was 2018, and you know, it's the first time in like 13 years that I haven't seen them in a calendar year. So, I'm with you on that. It's just all of us have been locked down all year, but I'm glad we're getting back on track. And you know, Ring of Honor, the pure title, you know, the fact that you were even chosen to be in it was a huge deal. And I know that the virus has killed a lot of people and brought a lot of people down, but it has kind of saved you a little bit because you weren't in the pure title tournament in the beginning at first when they were doing the past versus present show, right?
Yeah, it's very bizarre. It's somehow been the best and the worst year for my career.
I know.
Like everything I thought would happen has not happened, but then like great opportunities I didn't think would happen are now happening.
And it's
like
just,
it's unreal.
I know it's a weird way to say that, but it's just a very ironic way how things work out sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I'm in a Ref 1 final battle this year. I didn't think that was going to happen, but that came out of the pure tournament, which wouldn't have happened if I hadn't, if there hadn't been a global pandemic that kept half the roster overseas or out of commission for one reason or another.
No kidding. I mean, Final Battle. I mean, that's something that I've been buying the DVDs of for a long time probably since 2007 or so. And I mean, in 2005, I think Low Key versus Kenta was the main event, and now we're going to be looking at 2020, and Wheeler Yuta, my boy, is going to be on the card. Are you kidding me? That just blows my mind, man.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, I'm super lucky, super excited. Get to have the first ever Pure Rule tag team match. Me and Fred Yehi against Rhett Titus and Hot Sauce Tracy Williams, one of my other mentors. So I'm really stoked for it.
Oh, that's great. I didn't know that had been announced. So Rhett Titus, has he joined the foundation with Jonathan Gresham? And Tracy Williams?
Yeah, so he did. Yeah, so he was. I'm sure you've seen the promos, but there was someone with the octopus mask, like the red mask on, and then he recently unmasked to reveal his red Titus. So yeah, it's been really cool that we're gonna get this opportunity. But
I
yeah,
see
so
that.
he is officially part of the foundation.
Okay, now I've looked at it. Now I see a picture of it. Now I missed last week's Ring of Honor TV show, so I think that's why he must have done it then. Um,
Mm-hmm.
God, that's going to be exciting. So I don't think there's ever been a pure rules tag team match, has there?
No, this is the first one ever. Yeah, big deal.
That is
Big deal.
amazing. And you and Jonathan Gresham are 1-1 right now because you beat him in Beyond Wrestling, and then of course you lost in the first round of the Pure Title tournament. So I mean, this is going to be somewhat of a rubber match for y'all, huh?
Yeah. So, well, he's not going to be in the. Well, it'll be the foundation, but he's not going to be in it. It's just Rhett and Hot Sauce for this one.
Oh,
But
it's Rhett and Tracy. Oh, I'm so sorry, I mixed that
yeah,
up.
yeah. No worries. Yeah, but I think that I don't know for sure, but I'm hoping that we'll get a shot at each other because there's also going to be obviously uh, television coming up. So hopefully on one of those episodes, I don't know yet. I don't know what's going to be going down, but hopefully there.
Oh,
Maybe we'll get another match somewhere down the line. Who knows?
that's what I want to see. I want to see you guys just roll over this foundation, and then I want to see Wheeler Yuta versus Gresham for the belt. I mean, he earned it. I tweeted him when he beat you. I tell you, it was like a Super Mario impression when he was slamming your knee down on the mat. He kept sticking his hand up in the air, his other arm in the air, like when Super Mario jumps, he goes boing, and he keeps jumping up in the
Right.
air and smashing. I mean, I don't think I've seen very many submissions by strikes. With the leg, like slamming something down like that. I've seen Daniel Brian Danielson do that with I think on the arm and the hand before, or like elbow strikes. He's done that before, but I don't think I've ever seen somebody slam their knee on the mat before and win that way. So that was pretty brutal and innovative at the same time.
Yeah, he's incredibly talented. He's always coming up with new ways to beat people, new ways to make people tap, new ways to pin people. So yeah, I mean, I don't really, aside from Final Battle, I don't really know what the future is going to hold for me in ROH. But I'm hoping that we get another shot down the line to each other, and fingers crossed. Let's hope.
Me too. Me too. Because you lasted a good while with him. You lasted like 10 or 11 minutes with him, and I mean, at a few times I really thought you had him. I mean, granted, you looked like a gymnast from the '80s, in there, but you were killing it, brother. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you. Yeah, those cool new fancy tights for that occasion.
That was really cool, man. I think I took that line from Jim Cornette because I listened to his podcast and he mentioned you because he reviewed the whole Pure Title tournament. And he mentioned you. Of course, he said that he had met you in MLW while he was working there, and he said that he really liked your work and that you had a great, for lack of a better word, foundation, and your technique was almost second to none. But he said the only thing is, boy needs to get some new tights. He looks like a gymnast out of the '80s or something like that. So I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah. Fair enough. Not for everyone, I guess.
No, it's not. But so I did mention Jim Cornette. He's one of my favorites. Do you have anything? Did you talk to him very much while you were in MLW or anything like that?
So I only met him like once or twice when he was there. He's very cordial to me the whole time. I mean, I know he's a very hot button topic and everything. But he's cordial to me when I met him, but we didn't really have a relationship or anything.
Oh, okay. Well, no worries. He's just
Nice
one of
enough to
my
me.
favorites, over the years. So do you want to talk about maybe a little bit of current wrestling? What's going on in the independent and the non-WWE world with Kenny Omega?
Yeah, I saw that he was on. I didn't get to see Impact, so I don't know when this is going to come out, but he was on Impact last night from when we're recording it. So I haven't seen that yet, but I'm definitely going to check it out because I saw that they put the whole show up on YouTube. So I'm really excited to watch that. But yeah, it was. I think that nothing but good can come out of promotions, like interpromotional things like this. Like it's a win-win for the fans. It's a win for the wrestlers who get to have matches that they wouldn't normally have. Like nothing but good. So I think it's really awesome that's happening.
I'm excited for it too. I didn't watch the whole show either, but you can check it out on Twitch.com. Their channel is on there, and I think they have a playback area where you can watch the show in full. Do. And so anybody that's listening to this can check it out there. Otherwise, I'm sure there are other ways to find it. But let's see. I don't really know where else to go, man. I'm very excited to see that you're in Final Battle. I mean this tag team Pure Rules match, and that's coming up on December 15th, right? Or
I believe that's the 18th. It's going to be a week from this coming Friday. Let me make sure I got the date right.
Yeah, that's a Friday. Yes, sir.
Yeah, 18th at 9 p.m.
Friday the 18th at 9 p.m. folks. Live on pay-per-view, and that is going to be on Fight TV, I believe, right?
Yeah, you can get it on Fight TV, you can get it on Honor Club, or you can just order it through regular pay-per-view through your cable provider as well.
Oh, that's right. They are. I forgot. Several years ago, they did get on full-on pay-per-view on your cable networks, and so you have you've got Twitter and Instagram, and you're all at Wheeler YUTA. Is that how you spell it? You want to tell everybody anything else you got?
Going to be. I mean, that's pretty much all I got. Yeah, it's all at Wheeler YUTA. Here and there on Twitter, I'll be dropping different merch, but I do have like pins, masks, some shirts left over. So if you ever want to get any of those, just hit me up on one of those platforms, or you can email me, yutawrestling@gmail.com. But other than that, that's about it.
Okay, great. Well, we'll put all. I'll make sure to get all those, links and all the writing, the spelling down for everything of all that, and I'll put them down in the description. And Yuta, I thank you so much. This has been a great interview. It's been right at about 30 minutes, 32 minutes, and I'm gonna ship over to the closing screen, and I'm gonna talk to you in a few seconds, and I will end this recording, and I will talk to you in a few seconds. All right, see you, bud.
All right, thanks, buddy.
All right, folks, this has been Ford Fisher and Wheeler YUTA. This has been episode 2 of Magic the Grappling. Thank you all for your time. I've got Manitrators promo code. It is moon_6R4 for 15% off for your first 3 months. Of course, it's always brought to you by manitrators.com and onelioncbd.com for all your legal cannabis needs. All right, folks. Thank you, and see you for episode 3. See you around the bend.